Hello, Troy? Troy? Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
We're good, good. All right, so this is going to be a little strange because unfortunately my computer cable isn't quite long enough, so I'm going to show you everybody and then I'm going to set the computer back down. So
That's
everyone
fine.
say hi. This is
Hey guys.
everybody. So Minu is a friend and colleague from Philadelphia and Philadelphia Writing Project, and she's going to tell us a little bit about Thrive, which everybody just hold up Thrive just so she can see. All right, yeah, see many Thrive books around the table. Looking forward to an online book club. Jeremy, right across from us, right here, he's our online book club leader.
That's awesome.
So all right, so the floor is yours, my friend. Take it
Thank you.
away. We are
So,
listening even though you won't see me on screen.
that's fine. So first of all, thank you to Troy and Jeremy and everyone at the Chippewa River Writing Project for taking this time to check out the book and and like exploring it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it, and I hope um, that we can continue this dialogue even after Austin. That is way better. Thank you, Troy, for doing that. Um, so I'm hoping that this is just start of few conversations. If you check the book out, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Um, I actually am hoping for some Q&A even tonight, um, but very briefly, I think Thrive is I love the way my editor put it. Thrive is my love letters to teachers and teaching, and it's my public, um, contribution uh, to a profession that I care deeply about. It's my tiny and humble voice in the dialogue around public education and what it means to be a teacher and a learner in the present day. And I think what makes me most proud about this book is it not only includes my story, but stories of so many amazing teachers around the country who are talking about the ideas that have helped them find joy and energy and the push to keep coming back year after year into the classroom. Very briefly, the book highlights 5 core things that I think if teachers did more often, they would find um, the energy that would keep them going in this time when energy is so scarce and we all feel so depleted, and even bullied in some ways. So the first chapter focuses on the role of mentorships. I would consider Troy as one of my mentors. Like, I've read his books before, I've heard him speak, I've asked him questions, I've emailed him inquiries that I've had. The second chapter is all about joining and building networks and the power of networks. And I don't think I need to convince you, because you're all here as part of a powerful local writing project site, sharing ideas and your thinking around teaching and learning. I found my first home around networks in my writing project site at the Philadelphia Writing Project. So that really influenced the way I think about what it means to learn in a community. The third chapter is about keeping your work intellectually challenging, and how do you find that joy of learning and uncovering alongside your students, and where do you find yourself trying to make sense of um, the complexity of teaching. Like, you make 1,000 or more decisions a day. How do you process that, and how do you make sense of it? The fourth chapter is about aligning personal values to one's practice in the classroom and some of the hurdles and the challenges that come along the way, but the ways that you can address those challenges. And the last chapter is about the most important thing that we do in our classrooms, which is we try to find ways to empower our students. My ultimate question to myself is, will my kids be more courageous and curious after they met me, after they've had my class? And the last chapter is all about trying to find the sort of melding of all the other ideas and applying it to our practice and our work with our students. I think the book is starting an interesting conversation about teaching and learning, and I think really wise and kind people like Troy have read it and have like made some very kind comments about it, and I think that's getting people curious, and they're trying to figure out what this book is about and who is this, like teacher from Philly writing this book. So any opportunity I get to talk to teachers and practitioners who are discovering this book and are interested in learning more about it. I love learning with teachers, so it makes me so happy to be with you and to have this conversation tonight and into the future. So I want to pause there and like open it up, or Troy, I don't know, or Jeremy, I don't know if you want me to address something specific, but that's sort of my thinking right now.
All right, so I'm going to see if anyone here has some questions. It's a little noisy, so I might repeat the question, or if you want to come up. Oh, Liz is going to come right up.
Hi, Mina. My name's Liz Brockman.
Hi,
Liz.
Liz.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for being with us tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
I'm a colleague of Troy's, and I just want to know more about you as a teacher. Will you tell us where you teach, what you teach? Because we're really impressed that we're just really impressed that you wrote this book, and we want to know more about you as a person and as a teacher.
Sure. Thank you. Troy, can we mute your microphone again? So I actually started my my teaching and learning journey in Philadelphia, but not exactly in a classroom. I was a staff member at an AmeriCorps program called City Year, and it was the first time I had gone into urban schools and classrooms and had seen and witnessed inequity and disparities for the first time. My own high school and educational experience was much different. I went to like large suburban schools in northwest suburbs of Chicago, and I had never seen anything like this. So my original plan after graduating from college was to go to law school, but something in me wanted to think about education and do something about it, and not just discuss it over beers with my friends. So I went to Temple University, and I worked full-time and went to school part-time and got my teaching cert. My background is in philosophy and English, but I did not have an education cert, so I couldn't teach, so I went and got that. And then I figured if I didn't like it, I could always return to my original plan, which was to go to law school. And so I started, and I've taught for 8 years in the school district of Philadelphia, and I've taught at all kinds of schools. I've taught at neighborhood schools, I've taught at magnet schools, I've taught summer school at every type of school. But in this district and in this community is really where I've learned to cut my teeth at this like complex task of teaching. And I would say most importantly, I've learned more about teaching and learning from my students by paying attention to their experience, having conversations with them, and then sharing the responsibility of creating a community, a true learning community for all of us in the classroom, and having utmost respect for their ideas, and not just saying it, but also implementing the suggestions that they made about the things that I was doing in the classroom. So currently, I teach my students English at the Science Leadership Academy, which is an amazing place to teach and learn. It's an inquiry-driven, project-based, one-to-one laptop school in partnership with the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. I work for an amazing principal, the founding principal, Chris Lehman. My colleagues are amazing. I'm like probably the fourth best teacher in my hallway. It really is my kids are amazing. I'm blessed to teach there, and that's a little bit about my background and how I found myself in a classroom. I don't know if I answered your question.
All right. Liz is giving you a thumbs up. You got quite a few smiles when you said fourth best teacher in the hallway. I know it's you can't see or hear that right now, but we appreciate your insight and your humor. Who else has a question for Minu? Okay, well, I have a question while they're all being shy. I think Janet's going to come up here in just a moment, but while they're being shy, what's the response to the book been like? What are you feeling like as a writer right now? This is a writing project event. We have to ask you how you're doing as a writer.
So I am feeling all kinds of things. I'm feeling nervous every time like I hear a person who's reading it, or get an email, or get a tweet, a mention, or a DM. First of all, I can't believe that people are even checking this out. So it's humbling and exciting, and I get excited every time I hear from someone who has taken the time to read the book. And then in my own personal life, I'm taking part in a blogging challenge, at least 100 words for 100 days. And I missed a couple of days because I was busy writing narratives for my students. But surprisingly, I've kept up with it. And every day I think about my classroom practice or an experience I've had outside of the classroom, and I'm writing about it on my blog, minurami.org. And that's been a really interesting experience. I don't know if anybody's reading it. It doesn't really matter, but the commitment of like, I said I would do this, and then doing it every day has been amazing. And it has sort of like freed me to just like write about whatever I want to write about, because I'm going to write that day no matter what. I just wrote a quite personal and like really like scary piece for a scholastic collection around, I think let me pull up the question. So Lois Bridges, who is this amazing editor at Scholastic, asked all kinds of people to answer this question: what does writing make possible? And I loved the question, and I was honored and again humbled that Lois even knew who I was and reached out to me. It's only 740 words, but it took me 3 days to write it. And it was really scary because I was writing about not just my beliefs about teaching, but also my personal experience with power of reading, and what reading has made possible in my life. So that was really scary, and I just finished that piece. So I'm trying to do a little bit of writing every day, but I'm a full-time classroom teacher, and my my responsibilities and my commitment to my students come before everything else. So sometimes I'm short on time, just like everyone else, but I'm trying. I'm not sure if, again, that answered.
I'm coming back. No, that's great. I have to share with you, we have started a blog for our writing project.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I'll make sure I get the URL to you. Or maybe someone else can tweet me our URL for our new blog so she can see what you all are writing about. All right, I'm going to introduce you to Janet, who's one of our teachers from Cadillac, Michigan.
Hi, Janet.
Hi, Minu. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I feel like I know you because I'm a regular participant in Ing Chat.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
thank you for that. And that was my question. I was going to ask you, you spoke a little bit at the beginning about connectedness, and I'm curious about how, I live in a very rural area, and so connection has made a big difference for me, and primarily through Twitter. I'm here at the Writing Project because I met Troy, so to speak, on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I wondered if you would talk a little bit about connection and what that's meant for your, like, revival, I guess, of your teaching right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Is that mute?
yeah, thank you. Sorry, I don't know. It's so distracting when it's not muted because I can hear myself speak and I get like, oh. So before I came to SLA, I taught again at all kinds of schools, and in their own right and in their own ways, they were wonderful places to teach and learn as well. But for somebody who was in their 4th year of teaching, who was starting to get hang of a number of things, but still knew that I had a lot of work to do and a lot of learning to do, I was craving connections, and I was craving good mentors, and I was craving people who were in love with their work, and it wasn't necessarily happening for me at my school. I've said this in other places. If I wanted to go all day without talking to another adult, it was possible for me to do so at a school where I was before I came to Science Leadership Academy. And I had just done the Philadelphia Writing Project Summer Institute, and I was thinking deeply about teacher voice, teacher leadership, and teacher agency. And people were using Twitter at that time to connect to one another, and I was kind of sort of just on it, not really active. And then I noticed that there wasn't a chat for English teachers. So I kept saying to people, like, there should be one, like, it would be an amazing way to connect to people. I would love to be part of a community like that. And people just got sick of me talking about it and started saying to me, if you really want to do this, just do it yourself. Like, you create it. And I was like, I can't do that. I have like 100 followers, not even. Like, no one's going to take part in it. But long story short, I took the leap of faith, again, because I think I had just gone through the Summer Institute, and I was trying to, like, back up my actions with the beliefs that I just had articulated or had tried to articulate in my Summer Institute experience. And then I quickly realized that I couldn't be responsible of hosting it every week, and I wanted to learn from lots of different types of people. So Jim Burke was one of the first people I invited, and he was very kind and open, and quickly realized that this would be a great way to connect with his readers. So he quickly agreed to do the chat, and it just caught on from there. And it has slowly built over the last four years. For me, learning in a community is incredibly important. I cannot make sense of the complexity of my work unless I talk to people who are smarter and, you know, more experienced and more daring than maybe I am. So I'm constantly looking for people who will energize me and energize my work. And I think it's possible in all kinds of places. I don't think Twitter is the answer. While I love and appreciate the community that is InkChat, I think it can happen with one teacher to another teacher across the hall. I think giving and taking expertise and experiences and ideas from each other in a network is more important than the medium via which the network builds. It could be Twitter, it can be Facebook, it can be face-to-face, it can be a writing project site, it can be an inquiry group, it can be a book discussion group. I think the ways to connect are infinite, but I think the act of doing it is incredibly important and rewarding, or at least I have found it to be so in my experience. In some ways, I would not be the same person that I was without having gone through the writing project Summer Institute experience. So learning in a community is a deep, I think, part of my belief about what it means to be a teacher and a learner. I don't know if that also again answered your question, Janet.
Yeah, one of the problems, you're not able to see everyone. There were some heads nodding, and I think I heard an amen at one point. So you have a warm audience here, even though you can't see them. Trust me. I think you might know Jeremy already, but I'll let him say a few words. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you, Jeremy? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm hoping, first of all, that you would be able to join us when we actually start our book discussion on your book, which is going to be real soon.
Okay.
Obviously not at all sessions, because I know you're really busy, but I can let you know.
I'd like to do like this and maybe one other, and after they've read a little bit or the whole thing, I would love to reconnect.
Awesome. And my question for you is, how have your students reacted to you as a writer and getting your book published?
That's a really interesting question. Some kids know that it exists, and I've been doing some speaking and getting the word out there about it. Other kids have no idea, and that's fine too. One of the best moments last week, and I tweeted it out because sometimes I do that when things make me laugh or they bring me joy. I share it with other people on Twitter. One of my kids was like, "I'm totally stalking your book on Goodreads. I read the reviews and all," and that was kind of amazing. And a couple of my students who are interested in education and want to pursue education possibly as a college major are actually reading the book. So they're pre-service teachers actually reading the book, which is kind of interesting. I think having gone through the experience of working with a wise and kind and thoughtful editor, I think has helped me be a better teacher of writing. And I wrote a little bit about that on Troy's blog. He did a blog post for me. He was very kind to do so. And I loved writing that response. How has writing a book made me a better teacher of writing? Because I think some of the things I talked about were accepting fear and like acknowledging fear when we ask kids to write and publish and go public. There's a lot of fear, and now I think I have more empathy for that fear because I've gone through that experience. I think listening with respect and like really honoring other kids' ideas about writing. I learned a lot from my editor, and like asking really good questions and not just questions just because I'm doing a writing conference and I just want to like ask questions for the sake of questions, but like listening deeply and with curiosity and with an open mind, and then asking questions and being fully present in those moments when I'm talking to kids about writing, I think has helped me as a teacher of writing. But I like to my kids, I'm just Rami, like, hey, like, what are we gonna do today? I don't think they're fazed by it, or they don't really care in any way.
That's a great answer. Like I said, we've got some people here that are blogging, and we're trying to get them to blog more. So I appreciate how you just described that, taking a risk. So we're
Yeah.
not going to take up too much more of your time. We have one more question for you from
Sure.
Tresta. So I'll let her introduce herself.
Sorry, I'm in Amazon. It's a long way down to the camera.
No,
Hi. And I probably have something in my teeth.
no, you're fine.
I'm a new teacher, newer than you,
Okay.
and I have to say you used the word bully earlier, and I went, you had the nerve to say it, because I think as a young idealistic teacher, I sometimes feel like I shouldn't share my thoughts, that my ideas are too revolutionary, you know. And I'm curious, where did you find the courage? Because some of what you say is not some of the things that appears that I'm noticing in your book and using the word bully. You seem like you're bucking the system a little, and you want the best education for your students, and it's not always the way things have always been done. Where did you find the courage to write a book and address that?
Wow. That is.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Or how old are you? I wanted to know that too. Easy, whatever's easier.
You don't have to answer that one. No. Okay.
No, it's fine. I think I talk a lot about this fear in chapter 4, where I talk about aligning our practice with our beliefs, and I'm not sure where I found the courage, but I think deep down I know that the only and I've always taught like 9th through 12th grade students, so they very clearly have let me know when I have not taught something to their satisfaction, or when I have fallen below their expectations, or when they did not have a good experience in all kinds of ways. Maybe not in a very like clear-cut way, but in all kinds of different ways they've told me like this isn't working. So I think deep down I've always known that the only people that I'm truly accountable to, and we love that word right now in education reform conversations, accountability, are my students, are the 33 sleepy teenagers I face every morning. And I think when I have said things that other people are thinking but aren't necessarily saying, I think I'm speaking up for those teachers who may not want to do what I'm doing. And I'm also speaking up for students who are having to experience a certain type of education that I'm not saying it's all good or all bad, but we're not even having a very good conversation about it. I don't think it has been like one day I like woke up and I was like, I'm going to say things that are scary. I think it is scary. I think it's scary to like be on this Google Hangout with really smart writing project teachers from Michigan and talk about my deeply held beliefs about the work that I do and love so much. It feels vulnerable to do so, but the more I do it, the more I find that I'm able to think about that alignment in my classroom, and I think the better my practice gets because I'm reflecting, I'm questioning, and I'm willing to learn through those conversations. So I don't know if I'm doing anything like extraordinary. I think I'm just trying to figure it all out myself.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We promised you we wouldn't take more half an hour than your time, and it looks like we're about at that point. So hopefully you'll hear their applause in just one moment. There you go.
No.
And I'm sure that Jeremy and others will be in touch. So thanks so much. We're really looking forward to the book and reading it with you.
Thank you so much for planning this and doing this and choosing Thrive. I am grateful for your eyes on my work.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.